Montanans think for themselves. Please, let's do.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, member of the committee, my name is Jim Gingery, and I'm the Executive Director of the Montana Medical Growers Association. I also had the honor to participate in the work group session this summer and participate extensively with Representative Sands' interim committee. The committee worked very hard, and the work group worked very hard to come up with recommendations. It was very difficult this morning to determine, or this afternoon, to determine whether I was a proponent or an opponent, because there are many good things in this bill. Unfortunately, there's some things in this bill that we find within the Medical Growers Association, which represents all of the patients and all of the caregivers across the state and their interests, that we find troublesome, and so therefore I'm on the opponent side. Many of the things I was going to say were actually mentioned by the proponent side, so I'll avoid those and I'll stick to some new topics.
Thank you.
One issue was residency issue. There's only 103 patients out of state right now. I personally had a stage 4 brain cancer patient that lives in Wyoming and was going to Billings for treatment and chemotherapy. Unfortunately, as she was going in for her initial treatment, that was the time the DPHHS had a short-term shutoff on permitting out-of-state patients. Therefore, her patient recommendation was denied at that point in time. She was unable to use appropriate medicine for her, as the normal medicine was not suitable for her condition. She's since gotten her license. I hope that she's able to take it and retain her license while she's still coming to Montana for medicine and for treatment. The licensing board, actually, we proposed a licensing board. We proposed it over the summer, and we proposed it again now. You've all had an opportunity to receive a medical cannabis guide. One of the things we found during the work group session was that many people don't know a lot about this subject. When we did a survey of candidates prior to the election, many candidates came back and said, I can't tell you how I feel about this. I need to know more. So please use this simply as a reference guide. I don't expect you to read it, but please, when the issues come up, it's easy to use. One of the questions is, where do we belong? Department of Agriculture, Department of Revenue? We probably belong in both. But as the previous gentleman just stated, we are an agricultural product. Perhaps they're the group that actually regulates us, and then the funding actually goes through the Department of Revenue. One of the things that has not been addressed yet by any state, including Montana, is how a plant actually grows. And one of the things that it's about time, I think, one state take the lead in determining exactly how a plant grows so that we know what the right quantity is.
30 seconds, sir.
To say 2 ounces, 4 ounces in terms of possession by a provider or a grower, it's not realistic. Let's sit down and actually figure out what the right numbers are, and quite frankly, with the closed-loop tracking system that we've proposed, the quantity doesn't make any difference because we've essentially eliminated the black market. I would ask you also consider different terminology. I think Representative Sands in the bill has some good ideas in it. We've got some clarifications to some of that terminology I'd like you to appreciate.
Thank you,
I'd like you to consider. Thank you. May I hand out something as well?
Yes, you may.